Hi, this is Dyce Kimura. I'm a Miami guitar teacher and Skype instructor, and today I'm going to show you my Gibson 335 in Indigo Blue. Okay, I got this in 2015. It's a 2015 model. It sounds amazing. I want to talk about it with you, but first I'm just going to play it a little bit just to break the ice and kick this video off. Okay, so I'm just going to hook it in with my smooth jazz backing track. Here we go. That gives you an idea. I just want to break the ice and establish the tone of this guitar and how exquisite of an instrument it really is. In terms of price, the Gibson website sells it for $3,800, and it's worth every penny. Okay, I want to go through a few things that is unique about this guitar. First of all, the neck is really nice. It's a slim 60s tapered neck. And it's probably the slimmest neck that I have among guitars. And I've had every kind of neck, from D necks, C necks, V necks, slim necks, fat necks, 50s necks, 60s necks, compound necks, 7 1/4 radius, 12-inch radius, you name it. Okay. And this is a great neck. I love the trapezoid. I love the pearl inlays. But most of all, I love the tone. Okay, this guitar sounds amazing, as you already know. You can hear it. It's got this really sweet, nasally kind of sound, both in the front and the rear pickup. So if I play it again, I'm just running through a basic rig today. I'm running through my Hughes and Kettner tube Meister on clean, and I've got a hand wire tube screamer turned all the way up. and I'm running into a Celestion Vintage 30 speaker, 65 watts. So this is the guitar. I'm gonna play some lead work for you. Oh, I'm just looking. That's with the tone knob at like 5. I'm gonna put the master at 6 and the tone at 6. Let's hear the front pickup. I'm also going to put it at 6 and 6. Put everything on 10 for a second. Front pickup on 10. Very cool. Let's talk about a few things. I love a few things about this guitar. The hardware is like a pewter. It's like a dull silver, which just really accents nicely with the indigo wood. Okay. Obviously, a major selling point of this guitar is the wood. Okay. This is extremely exquisite. It's tiger stripe maple. Okay. And the neck, it's actually a two-tone guitar because the neck is like a dark blue. It's dark blue, then abruptly at the heel, it turns into tiger stripe maple. And I believe, let me pull up some info on this guitar on the website. I believe it's a 3-ply wood. Okay, yeah. It's 3-ply wood. It's got cream binding. Okay, this is cream binding here. And this red sticker, you can see it in there. It means that that's a Memphis custom shop guitar, which you'll know just because it's 2015. In case you're wondering, the Nashville shop closed down at the end of the 80s. As a matter of fact, this Gold Top is probably one of the last guitars that came out of Nashville. Not like the last, but one of the last. It was the last year. It's in '89. And then they opened up the Memphis custom shop in 1990, I believe. Comment if there's any details I'm missing out, please. Anyway, so what's cool about this guitar? I love the neck, like I mentioned. The size is a 335. It's a little bulky. I like playing it sitting down. Live, if I'm standing up, it's a little bulky, but it's a big guitar. I have a lot of big guitars. I play acoustic live, I play electric, and I want to talk about the size of guitars for a second. The size of the guitar is really important for the tone. Okay, so if you're watching this video and you're already an avid 335 lover, that's great, good for you. Okay, in case this is your first time exposed to 335, something of this size, I want you to understand that the reason the guitar is this big is because it needs to be this big in order to sound the way it sounds. In other words, the sound is created in the guitar body, in the cavity, and that's where it resonates. Okay. So I want you to compare the concept of the guitar size and shape of like a bell, okay? So if you ring a bell, if you have a little bell, you have a little high-pitched sound, perhaps. It could be piercing, but it's not going to be a deep gong like a big fat bell, you know? If you want a deep bell, like the Liberty Bell, let's say, or whatever, and you ring it, it's like boom, or do you ring it, it's like ding-a-ling-a-ling, you know? And that's the difference with the guitar size, okay? Especially when it comes to hollow bodies. The tone is manufactured. The resonance is really coming out of the cavity in the wood. The hollow sound, it's very fuzzy and woofy. It kind of reminds me of ZZ Top, okay? But I don't want you to pigeonhole this guitar with something like ZZ Top or Billy Gibbons, which is all very much pigeonhole rock and roll. Okay, which is it's great. I love it. It's a great sound, but it's very one-track minded. You could also, other 335 players that have a wide range of tones, like Gary Clark Jr., Joe Bonamassa, Eric Johnson in the 90s played a lot of a red 335. Robin Ford, he played a 335. He also played, I believe it's a 339, which is a different shape. Okay, it's a little smaller. Again, the size of the cavity, the size of the body really matters. I'm a guitar teacher. I have beginners coming in here, and especially like girls or mostly girls or people that are smaller frame, and they go to the store and they pick out an acoustic, for instance, and they don't want to get like a full-size dreadnought like this Martin HD35 I've got back here. They'll want an acoustic, but they'll go with something smaller because they think it's like smaller for their smaller body. It's kind of cute. And I understand the logic of all that, but the thing they fail to realize is that the sound is crucial to the manufacturing of the tone. Get the full-size guitar and you get the full-size sound, okay? I could go on and on about this, but one last little analogy I'll throw in. It's like a V8 motor, okay? Nothing quite sounds like a V8 motor, but a V8 motor, okay? If you get a V4 and you take the muffler off, it's loud and whiny, but it doesn't have the authority and the rumble of a V8. And it definitely can't do what a V8 can do. So, food for thought, okay? Start thinking about that when you look at guitars and you're trying to understand why they make them the way they make them, okay? I tend to modify a lot of my guitars to my specs. I am a professional, so I'm very particular about what I like and what I don't like. Okay. That being said, I made it a point not to do any modifications whatsoever to this guitar because it's extremely valuable. It retails at $3,800, so I just keep it just manufacturer specs. It's kind of almost like a collector piece. Matter of fact, mine is in really good condition. But anyway, so one of the things that I really liked about it was not just the pewter tuning heads, but the actual the way that they made these the vintage style. I'm not a fan of the locking tuning heads. All my guitars that came with locking tuning heads, almost all of them, except for two of them. I take off the locking heads and I put on the old fashioned vintage tuners. I just think that I can wind more of the string on, and if you look closely at the neck, let me see if I can get it in the camera angle here, but you can see I actually put a lot of the string on, if not all of the string. I put as much string as possible on the tuning head. And that gives me a very strong stability in the tuning, in the resonance, and also its ability to stay in tune. And the more string wind you put on there, the stronger your ability to transfer your resonance into the headstock, which is what I want. I want that headstock resonating, and I want it to be secure and strong. And I also want, and when I say secure and strong, I don't want the string to slip. And I also want a very sharp, acute angle from the bottom of the winding to the nut. That's why I put a lot of the string on. So these types of tuners that are not locking tuners, they actually allow me to put more of the string on, which I like. Okay. Also, this comes with a locking tailpiece. So basically, if you take all the strings off, the tailpiece doesn't come off unless you unscrew it. And that's kind of nice. It's just very convenient. Okay. Everything else is very much true to form. It's very vintage. Like I said, there's really sweet mids. These are great pickups. These are classic 57s, which are my favorite. One of my favorite. I would say between classic 57s and PAF are my favorites. If I want a more aggressive Gibson sound, I'll go with the Trad Pro Zebra pickups, and I even put a mid boost in there. But if you want to go with more of a classic, gentler tone, the 57 classics are great, and also the PAFs. I definitely don't like the dirty fingers. Okay, just too much of everything. Okay, so these are good in terms of the pickups, and like I said, the tone is really nasally kind of sounding in a good way. It's not. It's just a very unique, sweet mid-range sound. So if you listen to it. Alright. I like this tone. This is called a bone nut, okay? Which is my personal preference. I usually change out all my guitars to be bone nut as well. And the wood is tiger stripe maple. This was like a big craze. I collect older guitars too, and you know, you saw the tiger stripe or the fancy was starting to come out in the '80s in a few exquisite models, like the Heritage models and stuff, the Heritage ADS model or whatever. But you really saw in the early '90s Gibson really making an effort to make really nice AAA flame, 4A, 5A flame. Like from 1992 on, by 1996 it was in full swing. By now, I'm making this video, it's 2016, there's just a lot of stuff out there that's really high grade maple. Collectors really love it, that's what people want. And so they started building them. And so I got into it too. It's kind of why I acquired this guitar, because it's so gorgeous to look at. It looks great with a black outfit, and that's one of the reasons I like it. So I'm gonna keep playing some things for you. Okay, let me play another track before I talk some more about this guitar's specs. Maybe you want to hear some slow blues. Yeah. I'll play some blues for you. Alright, so I'm just in a slow blues kind of mood today. I hope you don't mind me indulging. But let me talk about a couple of specs on this guitar. Okay, so its weight, it says it's 4.6 pounds, a little over 4.6 pounds. So it's not too heavy. It is very balanced though. I don't struggle with it leaning one way or the other. Okay, it's made of maple and poplar. Okay, so it's actually maple, poplar, maple. It's 3-ply. And let me see. So then the neck is also made of maple. Okay, and I guess that's all. That's all I really want to discuss. I mean, the frets are very comfortable. They're not too high, not too low. They're kind of like medium frets. Very comfortable neck. Oh, I did want to discuss one thing. I had this guitar. I bought it with a cracked headstock. And it works great. I did have it repaired. I don't know if you can see it. Where is it? Okay. So here, let me just take this off. But it's a headstock repair. Put that. I don't know if you can see it. It's really nicely done. You can see that little. I don't know if you can even see it, but it's been repaired. It was cracked. It was partially cracked, and it's been repaired. And yeah, just a little bit about cracked headstocks with Gibsons. If you get a cracked headstock guitar that's been properly repaired, it's gonna sound just the same as it didn't have the crack. In fact, it's even stronger because it's like a bone. Once you fix a cracked headstock, once you glue it back in place properly, it'll never break there again. It actually reinforces the guitar, and it's just as good as new. Matter of fact, a lot of things, and this was glued, it was set, clamped, and glued back into place. A lot of your guitar connections are glued into place, including the heel. The whole thing is glued, so nothing is necessarily screwed or nailed in on this particular guitar. There's other guitars that do use screws, but this one does not. So then what's the advantages or disadvantages of a cracked headstock? Well, there's no disadvantage in terms of playing, and I'm a pro player, so I don't mind a cracked headstock, but I like it because it makes it cheaper. So I'm able to acquire a guitar that's been cracked or has a cracked headstock. I can get it cheaper than if it were like in pristine condition. So a couple of my guitars I acquired with cracked headstocks, including this other Gibson as well. And I like to buy that way because it's a better deal for me. It plays just as good. Okay, so in case you're curious on that, do your own research on cracked headstock Gibsons and the repair process and how that affects value. It doesn't affect tone or playability at all. As you can see in the camera, you can barely even see it unless I were to mention it to you. Anyway, I would love to hear from you, so leave your comments below. And feel free to subscribe and like. Okay, I'll see you guys at the next video. Thanks.